This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by Squarespace. Coming up on Destructoid, the Tokyo Game Show is underway and Max and I are there. Max Payne 3 finally has a trailer, and Nintendo has some nubs that it would like you to touch. All this and more coming up on Destructoid. Welcome to Destructoid, I'm Tara Long.
And I'm Max Scoville.
Happy Wednesday, Max!
Damn it. It's our 200th episode and you say Happy Wednesday. It's our 200th episode.
It's an especially happy Wednesday.
It would have, I don't know if this is exactly an episode kind of thing, because our 100th episode would have been the first Monday of E3, but then we went to E3 and made all those videos.
They don't have to know
Technicality. That. We're celebrating by...
And look at the gift I got in the mail from Twitter user KnightRider1919. This is the clueless CD-ROM video game, the sleeper hit of 1997, that in fact does allow you to dress your character and choose outfits and stuff. I said on last Friday's show, I think it was, that this game needed to exist, not knowing that it already did. So thank you for bringing this to light. I'm gonna go home and play this later. It says software for girls up here, which is nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll review this or something.
Yeah. Review the graphics,
that'd be nice.
the difficulty, and the sexism that's in it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
So obviously, today is the Tokyo Game Show, first day of it. We're gonna talk more about that later in the show.
We're stuck
but
here.
First, we have some breaking news about Nubageddon 2011.
Oh no.
If you don't know what that is, then you probably haven't seen Jonathan Holmes' new video series, Talking to Women About Video Games.
Or
available right now on this very YouTube channel. Just go search
also known
for
as Titwavag, as an abbreviation.
Yes,
Big fans. Titwavag is what we've been calling it.
Yes. Topic of conversation is, of course, the 3DS's second nub peripheral, which looks like this. There it is. That's nice.
Yeah.
That picture, along with some specs, were discovered on Nintendo's hardware website a couple days ago, but oddly enough, Nintendo completely neglected to say anything about it at their press conference this week. But according to their website, it'll cost $20, will require a single AAA battery, and will only work with certain games. For now, we know that list of games includes Monster Hunter Tri 3G, Resident Evil Revelations, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater 3D, Ace Combat 3D Cross Rumble, Dynasty Warriors Versus, and Kingdom Hearts 3D. So while Nintendo didn't address the nub issue at their press conference, they did make a whole lot of lukewarm announcements instead, like this misty pink 3DS that's coming to Japan on October 20th. For those of you not paying attention, this is the final leg in my Tara-long prediction that has come true. Although they didn't say anything about it coming to America just yet, but I bet you it will.
Yeah.
I bet it will.
Sure am stoked for that.
Japan isn't the only
Aren't
country
you
that likes
guys-
small, cute, pink things.
Yeah.
Just
I
saying.
just
I know, this isn't
just
happy
say it,
news
just
for
say
you,
it.
but it
I
kind of
don't-
is for me.
I
If I
don't-
got a 3DS, it'd probably be a pink one. Anyway, wasn't until the end of the conference that any even remotely exciting news came about, but it did when Nintendo unveiled Monster Hunter 4 for the 3DS. This is, of course, not to be confused with Monster Hunter Tri 3G, which is the other Monster Hunter game for the 3DS that's coming out on December 10th. Capcom released the game's first trailer this morning, which shows off some new elements to the series, like a much more open and explorable world, the ability to climb up hills and mountains, and some platforming elements thrown in for good measure. So there you have it.
Yeah.
3DS games.
It's like Nintendo's had success with some sort of handheld Monster Hunter game in the past.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That one's for Japan, I think.
No, it's really huge over there, which is cool. But I just think it's weird that they're unveiling two of those at the same time.
Yeah, strange, but
Anyway.
gotta give the people what they want.
Rockstar Games is one of those studios that's very shrewd, and they keep themselves very hidden away. And then at the last minute, they'll release some epic fucking masterpiece that everyone gives 10 thumbs up. And this week, they've dropped the trailer for Max Payne 3. Now, this is one of those things you really need to go see for yourself because it's pretty badass, but the gist is like this. Max is in South America, and he's got work protecting a girl, and he drinks a bunch, and then he shaves his head, and then he's got a hangover, and then he has to shoot some guys, which is cool. It's sort of like my life, except instead of shaving my head, I just go to Supercuts, and the lady cuts my hair too short, and I get really bashful about it for about a week. Also, the trailer makes Hawaiian shirts look really badass, and I have decided to go buy Hawaiian shirts this weekend, possibly while drunk or hungover.
You're gonna go to the Tommy Bahama?
No, I'm gonna get some used ones. I don't want to pay like $60 for a stupid shirt. Anyway, the game comes out March 2012, so hang in there for that. While we're on the subject of Rockstar, they've just announced a Game of the Year edition for Red Dead Redemption, which came out about 17 months ago. It'll include all the DLC and bonuses and crap, and that's coming out October 11th. So keep an eye out if you have not been a cowboy
I
yet.
think I'm going to pick up the Game of the Year edition of
I think
that,
I will
actually.
too.
Yeah.
I like cowboys.
Makes the most sense. So here's some interesting news. According to Larry Erb, aka Major Nelson, the director of programming for Xbox Live, looks like Xbox Live is coming to Windows 8. The service will be bringing games, music, movies, and TV shows to your favorite Microsoft and Windows devices. That's their words, not mine. He put up a screenshot of the service, which looks exactly like the new Xbox dashboard that I talked about on our last show, and also eerily similar to the new Windows 8 screenshots. You'd think they were made by the same companies or something. No word yet on exactly how all this is going to work or if it's going to be available at the Windows 8 launch, but still, this seems like it could be cool, actually. If you can play your Xbox Live titles on your PC.
That opens up a lot of doors.
It does.
Very exciting.
Yeah, so you can like play while you're traveling and shit now without having to bring your Xbox, so that's cool. Moving from Microsoft to Sony news, we are now in the final week of Sony's new PSN Play program with a game that I know at least one of us is excited about, Renegade Ops. We've talked about that on the show before. It's available as of yesterday on PSN for $15. You get a free vehicle and character pack with some extra vehicles and weapons if you buy it through the Play program, so that's a good deal. You got to check this game out at E3, right?
Yeah, it's
what'd you
been
think?
on my list of games I want. It was very high on my list of summer games I was going to be downloaded, and it's
Yeah, I think it was originally supposed to be part of Summer Arcade, and then it didn't end up happening.
part of play. It's like Jungle Strike crossed with Jackal, except it's a twin-stick shooter. It's got really pretty graphics, and it was developed by Avalanche Studios, who are the guys who did Just Cause 1 and 2. So it's kind of a given that it's going to be sort of like an over-the-top 80s action movie with explosions and jeeps and stuff, and it's got some co-op, which is fun. It's just a fun game. Like, I want to buy it. I'm
I've
looking
heard good
forward
things
to
about
buying
it.
the game.
Jim Sterling's actually doing a review of that game. It's not going to be up like anytime soon. I think maybe next week because he's busy working on Gears of War right now. But be sure to check out Destructoid.com when that does go up. Why don't we thank our sponsor and then get into some TGS stuff?
Okay. So whether you are making a blog, portfolio, website, or online collection of really cool monster truck fan art, Squarespace is the quickest and easiest way to do it. All the hosting, setup, and boring details are taken care of, so you're able to get a website up and running in a matter of minutes. Squarespace comes with a variety of page types, from blogs to galleries to contact forms, which you can snap together in any configuration to build the site that you want. Squarespace also has fantastic social integration with Twitter and Flickr widgets built right in. With a single mouse click, you can share your awesome website about monster trucks with your friends and relatives on Facebook. If you're having any trouble figuring something out, there's 24/7 customer support. I actually have a Squarespace site myself. It's maxscoville.squarespace.com. I put up some of my weird stories and really inappropriate photoshops. It's still under construction, and I haven't put up my awesome gallery of monster truck pictures yet, but it is a wonderfully easy interface. I've done about as much web design as someone can do without actually learning how to do web design, and it's like somebody took all the most convenient parts of GeoCities and LiveJournal and Thomas's MySpace editor and then, streamlined them and made them totally modular. So it's really simple without being dumbed down or limited. So for a free 2-week trial membership, go to squarespace.com/Destructoid, and if you decide to buy, use the offer code Destructoid9 for 10% off your order. It's a good service and it helps us make this show.
It does.
So go do that.
We need monies to make our show.
Anyway, Sony and Nintendo, they had their big scary press conferences. We talked about Nintendo a little bit, but Sony also had their thing, and here are some things that they are going to be sending to us soon. First, there's some talk about the PlayStation Vita. This is the portable thing that they've been working on.
So many announcements about this
for
at TGS.
my life to have. It's slated for a December 17th release in Japan, with plans to release it elsewhere next year, but there's no solid date for that yet. What we do know is that the little system in your pocket is going to have a 3 to 5 hour battery life, which is not that great, but it could be slightly more than 5 hours if you're watching movies, and apparently it's somewhere around 9 if you're only listening to music. The full recharge time should be around 2 hours and 40 minutes, which, that's not spectacular, and I'm actually getting...
It's like the 3DS.
Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks to the time that I had a hissy fit over the 3DS's battery life. But considering how much...
so bitchy now, are you?
Well, yeah, considering how much power the Vita has, I find this a little bit more excusable.
Yeah, that's
And it's
true.
also,
Does have
it's
better
larger,
graphics.
so I wasn't really looking at it as that portable thing, but... Anyway, Sony's announced that the Vita will have 26 launch titles and that there are another 100 games or so in development. If that wasn't enough, the entire downloadable PSP library is going to be available and compatible with the Vita. So this means 500 to 600 games to choose from. You can look at on that pretty screen. There's also talk about a program to digitally replace UMDs so nobody has to rip old games themselves, and they're just available to download.
That'd be cool.
Now for the games, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is going to be a launch title. That's confirmed. Apparently it's done and ready to go. The system just has to come out first before they can start releasing games for it. Now, Hideo Kojima took the stage to say that both the Metal Gear Solid and Zone of the Enders HD collections are going to be on the Vita as well as the PS3, which is pretty cool. This is going to support the transferring technology that the word he made up, which allows players to share their saved game files between the console and the Vita, which is cool. Kojima went on to add that he's working on, wait for it, something, which will be out in a while.
A while.
Yes. Now, statements like this really, they would be a lot more exciting if we had any news whatsoever about Metal Gear Solid Rising, which is a game that got shown off at E3 2009. I mean, Kojima might as well just announce that he's not retiring, and we can assume that he's working on something, which is, I want that game. You could cut a van in half, for God's sake. Anyway, good news for Final Fantasy fans. In order to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Final Fantasy on PlayStation systems, Square Enix is getting ready to release a full PS3 and PS Vita HD remake of Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X.
There it is.
Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit mixed up, but this whole time I thought that the Final Fantasy game that fans were clamoring for was 7. And I could have sworn that was the first one released on PlayStation back in 1997, but maybe I'm just getting old and weird.
I think you are.
I mean, seriously though, people seem to like Final Fantasy X, so that's a good thing. And hey, it's not like they're making a sequel to to Final Fantasy 13, right? Ooh. Anyway, let's wrap this up.
Yeah, that's all for today's show. Actually,
Yeah.
that's our 200th episode. We didn't have time to really do something insanely outrageous for it, but our 1-year anniversary is coming up in October, so
we're gonna do some fun stuff for that. That's gonna be
buck
really
wild.
exciting.
Thanks so much for watching our show. We have an awesome fan base, if it goes without saying, but you guys send us stuff and watch us, even though we act like idiots 3 days a week. So yeah. Thank you so much for being you. We'll be back on Friday this week with a semi-regular episode, not a live show, but to make it up to you guys, we're doing an epic fall video game preview extravaganza palooza. So be sure to tune in for that, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Twitter at Detroit Show. He is Max Scoville, I am Tara Longest, and we are out.
Bye guys.
See you guys Friday.
Bye.